y'all. This is She Buys It with Whitney Nicely.
Yay! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the She Buys It podcast. I am so excited to have you here. You are going to love the conversation that I'm about to have with Sis Shaneka, but she goes by Sis on Facebook. So y'all that are in her group or have seen her around and just love her already, you're going to love this conversation. We've been chatting just a little bit, and I'm already loving the conversation. So let's dig right into it. She has been wholesaling in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She's getting into short-term rentals and wholesaling apartments, which just makes my brain go, So we'll talk about that and see what her plans are for 2020. She has an awesome event coming up in August. This will be, I think, our second year doing that, live wired, Women in Real Estate Dominating, right? I think
that's
we'll
right.
talk about all of that. But Sis, please say hello, mention anything that I missed, because there's a lot to say about you, and we'll go from there.
Hey, everybody. Again, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be here. I want to just let you all know that I'm excited about this conversation, and I hope you get some value out of this. So let's go.
Well, let's start about wholesaling. I haven't wholesaled properly in a few years. So tell me what's going on with wholesaling. Tell me, are yellow letters still working? Are you doing bandit signs? Winston-Salem, I mean, the whole state of North Carolina is hot. So tell me what you got going on and how you're getting deals. And I know, we talked a little bit about scaling and having consistent lead flow, but how do you get regular deals? I mean, call in anytime. What are you doing?
So Whitney, let me tell you what I do. So I've developed what's called KISS, right? And that's an acronym that I coined, and it's called Keep It Simple, Sis, or Keep It Simple, Sir. Okay, for my fellas. So that's what I like to do. I like to keep it very, very simple. So I use my primary deal source. I know a lot of people talk about it, and I don't know if people really hone in on it and take it to heart. Driving for dollars.
Ooh, driving for dollars. That is an old way to get leads.
It is, and it still works. It works like a charm. And let me tell you why, in case people are wondering why that's one of the best ways. Number one is you get eyes on that property. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see the distress firsthand. That's number one. Number two, the USPS deems a property vacant after, I think it's about 90 days of not being able to deliver the mail there or something like that. So if you're out driving for dollars, you get to see that property. Let's say you see it 60 days before the USPS even deems a property. That means you have access to it before it goes out to some list that someone else is buying, right? So that gives you a competitive edge for anyone else in your market if you're driving for dollars. So that's one of the things that I like to do. And also, I have 5 children. And 2 of them are babies, essentially. And I don't have a whole lot of time, so I have to make the best of the time that I have. So I drive for dollars in between picking up children from one school to the other, or between after school activities.
Okay. I was going to ask, do you actually do your driving for dollars, or do you have other people driving for dollars for you?
Both. So I do my own driving for dollars. I actually enjoy doing it, and I let people know that I make a game out of it with my children. And I have them searching. They know, like, anywhere we go now, even if we're not driving for dollars, they will see something. Mom, there goes a vacant home right there. So they are on it. Like, and I put them to the challenge, and I also encourage them to. I let them know, like, if I close on a property that you all, spotted, then I'll give you like $100 for every property that we close on, something like that. And they love it.
Awesome. I love that. I have a 7-day lead challenge. And one of the things that I do is I teach the women how to get their kids involved in it, because it's like a giant scavenger hunt. And I don't have kids, but as far as I can tell, they all love playing the game and looking for empty houses. And when you teach them how to spot it, then, that's a skill they're going to have forever.
Absolutely. And it gets their little entrepreneurial spirit, just the bubbling, and they enjoy it.
And it also gets them out of their iPod or their little
Yes,
device and gets them out and looking
absolutely.
around and gets their eyes off that screen.
Yep, that's you're absolutely right.
So what are you looking for when you're driving for dollars? You're looking for tall grass and no
Yep,
blinds up in the windows?
all of that. So here in North Carolina, I don't know how it is in every state, but here in North Carolina specifically, or at least here in my city, when a property is actually deemed vacant, the USPS will remove the actual mailbox head off of the stake of the mailbox. And also, if they don't have that, then the mailboxes that are on the physical house beside the door, they will put like a green card in there, and that's for the new tenant to fill out so they can start delivering the mail again. So those are key things that you can look out for that are dead giveaways that the house is vacant.
Man, I just spent like $60 getting a mailbox. You mean if I don't act like I'm there, they're going to take my $60 mailbox? I had no idea.
If you live here, they will.
Man. All right.
Yeah,
Well, that's something for the landlords to look out for too.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's one thing. Here they use if there's a city code violation, they have big yellow either a stake in the yard, or there will be like a yellow sticker on the door or the window of the home. And of course, like you mentioned, tall grass, cars in the broken down cars in the driveway, tarps on the roofs, and all. Let me tell you this too: all properties that are in distress, well, I'll say motivated homeowners aren't necessarily, the properties aren't necessarily like, raggedy, so to speak. So they can be vacant but in good condition. And I'll tell you, one of the deals that I closed, it was actually a property like that. He wasn't a landlord because he didn't have a tenant. The house he had gutted, and he just didn't have either the money or the desire to go in and finish the project. And I was driving for dollars, and if I could be candid with you, it was in a predominantly black neighborhood, but he was a white guy out mowing the lawn. So I knew that he didn't live there. I knew that, he had to be, owner of the home, but he didn't live there. So I rolled down my window and I waved at him, cut his lawnmower off, and we started talking. And I asked him, was he interested in selling the home? And he said, yeah, for the right price, I will. So we got to talking, and long story short, he kept the lawn manicured. The home was outside, looking in. The home was immaculate. Of course, on the inside it was gutted, but it was a beautifully manicured brick home. He kept the grass cut and everything like that. So there's, you will see things like that, and don't be afraid to talk to people, even neighbors. Like, oh my God, talk to people. You never know what you will find out. Like, I know a lot of people, they may feel, intimidated by that, but I'm telling you, you will come across all kinds of information, properties, contact information for those vacant homes. You will get all kinds of information if you would just step out of your comfort zone and talk to people. And people love to talk, y'all. I'm telling you, they love to talk.
And I think what makes women the best real estate investors, we naturally love talking to people. Even if you say
Yep.
you don't like talking to strangers, I see you talking to strangers all the time and I know you love it. It's that you don't know how to talk about real estate. But when you talk to a guy mowing the yard, you're just talking to him like a human, and you're just
Exactly.
letting him know that you buy houses, and he's letting you know that he doesn't want this house anymore. And it's just a conversation. You don't have to feel pressured to be a real estate expert having that conversation. I bought 2 houses from 2 dudes mowing the yard.
Wow.
You're absolutely right. You just got to talk to people and roll down the window. One, I had an empty house and I drove by it all the time, and I couldn't get a hold of the seller. But the guy was there mowing the yard one day when I rode home for lunch, and I just said, hey, who pays you? He said, it's Johnny. And Johnny lived like 4 houses down the street. And I didn't know. I couldn't find him. Wow. Dead end. Every time I skip tracing, it was a dead end. But the guy mowing knows who pays him.
Yep.
Only time I went door knocking, I went, knocked on Johnny's door. I said, I want to buy your house. He laughed at me. I said, no, let's talk about it. I went in, talked to him, bought the house right there. 30 minutes later.
Wow. That's what it's about. That is what it's about, Whitney.
I love it.
I've never door knocked though.
Well, that's the only time I've done it.
Yeah.
So, but talking to people is so key. You just got to let people know what you do. And if you're not going to talk about it, who else is going to? And people love to talk. So when you start telling them what you do, you'll train people what to say about you too.
Yep.
What's Whitney doing? What's sis doing? She's buying houses. She told me all about
it. Yep. You are right. Yep.
Tell them what to say. People are going to talk about you. Tell them what to say.
Yes. Yes.
So let me back up a second. If the house doesn't have a mailbox and you're not door knocking, how are you getting a hold of the sellers?
I skip trace them. Yep, I skip trace them and I cold call. I don't do direct mail. Well, I have done some direct mail pieces, but I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. But I don't do direct mail per se. Like I don't do blanket direct mail or anything like that. But my main thing that I really enjoy doing is cold calling. Again, it's all about talking. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head when you said talk to them like they are, which they are human beings. Just have a conversation with them. I talk to people whenever I'm trying to encourage them, motivate them, and coach them on wholesaling. Like, the worst they can say, well, they can say a lot of things, right? They can really, they can say a lot of things. Yeah, they can hurt your feelings. But at the end of the day, those people don't know you. They are on the phone. They can't get to you. They can't harm you other than your feelings. You will live you'll see another day. It's okay, But to be honest with you, I think I've only gotten cursed out twice out of all the calls that I've made, like literally. And one lady, she didn't even really curse me out. She just, she was just like, you calling me on a Sunday? And she, she was just nasty like that. But she didn't curse me out. But that was the worst.
It was Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
So bad.
And I typically don't cold call on Sunday. I had a meetup and I was trying to demonstrate for the people at the meetup. And I said, you see what? Y'all got me in trouble. And I'm not calling on Sunday no more.
That's the Lord's day. We'll leave it for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'll sort those out. Okay, so now let's talk about this conversation, because I think, and you're coaching too, so you see this, people feel like they need to have all their numbers in line. They need to have all their facts in line. They need to have 14 comps ready before they even make that first phone call. But it's just a conversation. And what I really want women to understand is it's not about the house. These people have a problem, which usually is 3 degrees removed from the house. They don't even care about the house. It's that something else is going on. And that's why we're the best investors, because we'll find out what else is going on in their life. Yep. And I'll solve it by buying your house.
Yep. You're spot on.
It's just a conversation. Y'all just need to hang out and be willing to talk to these people and ask open-ended questions.
Yes. I'm telling you, I cold called last Saturday, and I swear I talked to this gentleman for about an hour. He told me his whole life story, and I listened to every single bit of it. But it was interesting, but I talked to him, he talked to me, and, I got to follow up with him this week because he's got a ton of properties, and, he has children, and they don't want to have anything to do with his legacy that he was trying to establish for them. They don't want anything to do with it. So he's like, well, shoot, I'll just sell off all my properties then. They don't want anything to do with it,
And if you pay attention to him and you listen to him and you help him, then he will let you have all of his properties. And you only need that one seller, and you could do 10 or 20 or 50 deals, because he'll tell all of his other landlord buddies, hey, sis came and got all my stuff and took really good care of me and actually listened to me. People love to be listened to. They trust you when you listen more than when you talk. It's crazy.
And that's what I did. I just let him talk. I let him get all of that out that he wanted to get out. And, we had a good conversation. I didn't get a whole lot of cold calling done that day, but hey, that one person,
That one lead, that one person could be all the leads that you need to make $100,000 or more this year.
Absolutely. And I found that lead driving for dollars.
Woo-wee. So now driving for dollars and having an hour phone call with sellers, that's work. Yes,
it is. And it's work, but to me, it's it's enjoyable and it's worth it, So,
But a lot of ladies
yeah,
are hearing all of the, success stories where it only took 3 minutes and we made, $18,000 and
yeah,
I was on the beach the whole time.
yeah. Let me tell you, wholesaling, the concept is easy, but it requires some grit, some grind, and some work, y'all. I'm gonna tell you that. But it's worth it though. So it's work, but it's so well worth it. Like I don't know who else is watching and in the watching this or listening to this podcast, but let me tell you, this wholesaling has allowed me to be able to completely fire my boss. I get to stay at home with my children. And let me tell you, I was working corporate America and I was freaking miserable. While some people, may look at it as the American dream. Which I actually love the industry that I was in, investment banking. I love the industry. It was like my dream job, like, corporate America. I got to, dress nice and, be around all these, prominent people and all this good stuff and all of that. But when I had to freaking call in because one of my babies was sick, and then basically it's like almost like a child tax that it's like a penalty that they kind of like penalize you for being a mom when you have to call in sick or when you want to go see your children. Like I had an hour and 15-minute commute. So if one of my children was in a program, any type of school program for that day, I would have to actually call in for that day just to go see, one of my children perform in anything or anything like that. And when I get back from work, I was either freaking behind and stressed out from being behind, trying to catch up for the work that I missed, and or I felt like I was going to be penalized when it came time for any type of raise or promotion because I was the one that actually had to use my sick days. I had to use my vacation days, and my vacation days weren't for vacation. I had to use those because, for stuff that I had to take care of. If your child has a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, anything like that, I had to use my vacation days for stuff like that, So that was not where I wanted to be. And the straw that kind of broke the camel's back was when I had to move away, and I was in a city where I didn't have I had family there, but they were so spread out and they worked too, so they couldn't really help me as far as that was concerned. As far as like childcare, I wasn't quite making enough where I could afford to pay $200 a week per child, but I also was making too much to afford welfare. So I was stuck in the middle, and I would have to leave my babies. They weren't they're my babies, but I would have to leave them at the bus stop so that I can, commute to work, leave to work on time. But they would be there for 30 minutes or so at the bus stop until, the bus came to take them to work. And it was like there was a mother that was there, but nobody's going to care for your babies and love your babies like and there were like 10, 15 children out there. But I would cry on my way to work. And when I would get to work, I would call the school and just ask them, like, just please, can y'all confirm that, my children made it to school? And they were like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing's wrong. I didn't want them to think that I couldn't properly care for them and call, Child Protective Services or something like that. So I would say, nothing's wrong. I just, just please check and make sure that they're at school. And I'm about to cry. But I would, like, seriously, that would tear me up. And my mom, I would call her and she was like, that is not going to work. And I'm like, Mom, I'm doing the best I can do. So when I finally got an opportunity to stop that, that's what I did. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Hey, crying is just like farting. You got to let it out or you'll explode. And I'm okay with crying. I'm a joint crier, though. I'll join you here in a second. But that has to be, no wonder it was the last straw, because I feel like that would have been the last straw for me. And that's what you got to do. You've got to take care of the babies and you've got to have things in line. So were you wholesaling while you were working, or did you quit cold turkey and then start wholesaling?
No, so I was the first thing that I started doing, I was like putting money away. I was learning about wholesaling at that time, but I wasn't really as comfortable with it. And again, I was in a new city and everything. So the first thing I did was I started e-commerce first. So I started e-commerce. I had success from that. And then I went on to, like, I was having success with it, but I was still not like fulfilled, because it's very isolating, because everything is literally like online. There's like, I was selling on Amazon, and there was like no, I really didn't have to deal with anybody. Amazon did everything, all the fulfillment, customer service, everything. The most I would have to do was send a few emails here and there. But that was so, like, I'm an extroverted introvert, if that makes sense. So I have to have I have to have that burst of connection with people at certain times, at certain time points, and I wasn't getting that part, so I was not happy with that either. So that's when I started wholesaling.
And I think, when you start an e-com business, you start your own business and you start wholesaling, or you start wholesaling and then you start doing other things. Like, a lot of people do that. They're basically trying to figure out, how can I buy my freedom? How can I buy my time? Like, I'm willing to work, but which path am I going to take? And a lot of times you have to try a couple different things to figure out what you need. Do you need to be alone in your house all the time?
No.
Or will you feel like you're in prison if you're alone in your house all the time? Because being in real estate and being an entrepreneur, it's lonely. Nobody talks about how lonely it is, but like, I get jealous. My husband gets to go to work and he's, mad because he got to go to work or whatever. I'm like, you get to talk to 10 people today, like real humans.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Have a conversation with an adult.
Yeah. And I don't care if you are complaining about stuff. There's part of that is a little bit of, camaraderie and some human interaction that I'm not getting. And I think that's what's so awesome about, when I started wholesaling, when I started real estate, Facebook was just not what it is now. You've got a fantastic group of people taking action on Facebook, which, no, it doesn't give you that same interaction, but it does let you know that people are out there and they're supporting you, and they're going through challenges and they're having wins and successes. But it does give you a little bit of a community to hang out in. And I have a Facebook group too, and that's the same thing. Is we just need to know that other people are out there and we're not all alone, because it gets lonely. I'm not even at the top, and I'll tell you, it's lonely out here by yourself.
Right. You are absolutely right. You are right.
And as women, and just as people right now, we were raised in daycare with a room full of people. We were raised in school with a room full of people. Even homeschoolers do like co-ops so that they're around people, because people need people.
Absolutely.
And women, I mean, going back to our history, women used to raise all the kids together.
Exactly. Like, I so miss that. I'm telling you, like,
everybody in their own little box all the time, like we are now, looking at a little box.
Yeah, you are right. You are so right. Like, I love the whole community feel, and I think that's why I'm so into my Facebook group and into like the smaller groups that I create. And again, that's one of the things, like, you speak about women, like people in general, but women, we have like a special set of challenges that the men don't necessarily have or understand, and it's okay. It's okay that they don't understand to an extent. So that's why I wanted to create a platform to bring us together, like something just for us, and that's how Livewire came about.
So tell me about Livewire.
Oh my gosh. So again, WIRED is an acronym for Women in Real Estate Dominating. So last year we had some of the best ladies in the game that are absolutely killing it, 6, 7, 8-figure earners that came to the event, and they poured into these women. Like, we believe in giving like true value, not fluff, not hearing a whole life story or any of that. Like, they really came and delivered. It was in August of last year, which it'll be August of this year again, August 6th through the 9th. It was in Miami at an amazing boutique hotel. We had a pool party. It was like, Livewired it's almost like a retreat as well as a conference. So I wanted to be something different. It's for women, right? So you know how we do, So I wanted the ladies to come, and while they were there getting educated, to 10x their business, their real estate investing business, or either learn, because some of them hadn't done deals yet. So we had something for everyone, for all spectrums of the learning process, right? So while they were there, we had top-notch food. We had pool parties. We had a all-white yacht party where we went out on a yacht, and oh my God, it was insane, Whitney. Let me tell you, I want you to come this year. I'm telling you, it's like no other event. And while I was putting the event together, I was pregnant. And at the time that I started, I think I was just in the business for 8 months. So I hadn't even ever been to a real estate event yet, right? So I had some ladies that came to me, and they were like, "You never been to a real estate investment, have you?" And I'm like, "No." That's like, I could tell. Like, people don't do this. Like, no one does this at events. And they were like, "I've paid $5,000 for an event, and we got a sandwich, and and that was it." So I wanted it to be something that was affordable, and something that would bring the women together and build bonds. And we built, like, the ladies. We built relationships, friendships. Like, some of them bonded up, and they actually travel to other events together now. I mean, oh my God. And the outpour of unsolicited reviews from that event, it was just heartwarming. I'm still receiving gifts from the ladies from that event since last August. And they've let me know what, how they've implemented some of the strategies that they learned, and they are 10x in their businesses. And I couldn't be happier. Like, I'm so ecstatic for Livewire 2020.
I love it. And I'm totally in, because I do a big event too, and mine is focused on women. I love women helping women. It just makes all of us better and grow and scale. But also, it's the connections and the friendships. A couple of my girls went on a cruise together last week, and they didn't invite me, but it's okay. I'm not upset much about it. But I would love to see them come together, because we're across the country, but anytime we can get together and really feed off each other's energy and encourage each other to go back home and realize that you might be crying in the kitchen floor, but reach out and let us know. We'll help pick you back up. And
absolutely.
We're there for each other. And we do a cruise also. My event's in November, so it's not as much fun as my event in August, but it's nice, and it's good bonding, and not just a conference where you go and listen to somebody bark at you for 3 days. I want to experience it. And I love that. I love that atmosphere. And when it's fun, you pay more attention.
Yes, I'm telling you, it was amazing. I'm looking forward to your event as well.
Come on down in Knoxville. We'd love to have you. We'll get you up on stage too, and let's talk about wholesaling if you want to. But we'll talk about that later. But y'all be ready for that. Okay, I want to talk about the good, bad, and ugly. And you started to mention something. I want to go back to that. Is that the men don't understand? So tell me. We talked about some good. We talked about some bad. Tell me about some ugly that the men don't understand that women go through in real estate.
So, like I said, like, I have children. So aside from running a business, I run a household, and I have to manage all of the children, and all of that entails. So that's just one aspect of it from, that angle. And I've had men that have tried to intimidate me and bully me. So I had a deal once where, as wholesalers, we request non-refundable earnest money deposits. And I had this guy, he gave his non-refundable earnest money deposit and everything. And he came to the showing that I was doing, and he stayed there that whole time because he didn't want anybody else to get this deal. He stayed there the whole time and basically almost ran everybody else away. And then after he did that, and, I let everybody know, this gentleman, he wants the deal. He gave his earnest money deposit. He has the contract. And then he turns around 2 days later and says, he changed his mind. He wants his earnest money deposit back. And I was fairly new. And I felt so intimidated by that. And, I probably should have stuck to my guns and said, you know what? It's non-refundable. And you signed you signed a contract and you stayed there and basically intimidated all of my other potential buyers. And, I went with you over other buyers. And as a result, I ended up losing that deal, So things like that, but of course that could happen to a male as well. But I think as women, when we're dealing with a lot of male investors, I think you may feel a little bit, have times where you may feel more so intimidated than dealing with men dealing with other men.
And I agree with you. I'm a recovering people pleaser. So I want everybody to love me and be happy with me and think that I'm doing the best job ever possible. And it hurts when somebody, has had your property tied up and then they change their mind based on anything and everything. And you got to figure out how to make sure you're separating. Okay, it's not me that they don't like. It's not my life, my goals, my dreams. It's something else that probably has more to do with their life and their dreams than anything else.
Yep, exactly. So, and as far as like the ugly, again, like you have times when a deal doesn't close, and you have to keep grinding. It's a constant. Wholesaling is a constant grind.
Yes.
A constant grind.
And you mentioned being a mom. Women have like 18,000 unpaid jobs they got to do, but now, when it's a grind, I'm trying to think, how can I make wholesaling as easy and as accessible and as systemized as it can be? Because the last thing I want you to do is be overwhelmed with another 10,000 different things that I want you to do.
Yep. So that's what I'm working on going forward, Whitney, is automating it, because I tend to jump in things head first. Like I take massive. When I say imperfect action, I mean I mean imperfect action. But that's just like how I'm wired. Like I don't want to say I don't have fear, because I do have fear, but I don't let it hinder me from going after what it is that I want. So when I started wholesaling, I just jumped in there and I went for it, and I really didn't even take the time to try to automate or systemize anything, because the momentum, it starts building and building and building, and I didn't want to distract or take away from that momentum, so I just kept going, and that's how my year went, and I was able to do 6 figures in my first year while I was pregnant with baby number 5.
So if anybody's making excuses, you are now the poster child to it can be done. You just got to do it. And imperfect action is amazing. I've been taking imperfect action my whole life, I think, and I've accomplished and done crazy things. And people say, "How'd you do that?" I said, "I didn't think about it. I just did it."
Just did it, yeah.
I just went with the momentum, and God said, "Keep going." And I said, "All right, it's gonna be a mess, but I'm depending on you to clean it up."
Right.
And he has every time. He's cleaned it up, and it's been fine. Or I've learned a lesson. I got my feelings hurt, but I'm still here to talk about it. So I reckon
that's right
for me to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Now you said you're talking to the sellers and you're working and you're doing your things. Is there a magical phrase that you're listening to from the seller to know, oh, this is going to be a deal? This one is going to work? Or from the buyers, is there something that they say and you just know this one's good?
As far as from the buyer side, it's not something they say, it's kind of something they do. So typically my buyers that are really interested, they tend to stay a little longer, right? They want to do, they want to walk around a little more. They want to go around the back, and they want to, they tend to look a little bit longer. The buyers that aren't interested, they walk in and go out like quickly, like they know if it's for them or not. But whenever I get a buyer that's sticking around a little longer, that's when I kind of know, okay, yeah, they want it.
And that's again where you take your time with your people and you build a buyer's list. So you don't have 1,000 people. You might have 8 or 9 people, but they're serious and they're good, and they're going to show up. And then you get a system and a rhythm with them, and you can, really work together. And then you don't need 1,000 lists of buyers with cash.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Okay, I have a phrase on the buyer side also. If the buyers ask me what the KUB, Knoxville Utility Board, what's the electric basically, If they want to know what the electric is going to be, because I do lease options and
Okay.
I buy with owner finance, I sell with lease options. I
Yeah.
don't do much wholesaling anymore, but even when I was wholesaling, I'm dealing, well, I would do assignments. So I would wholesale my lease option. So I would get an
Okay.
assignment and I'd get a tenant buyer in there.
Yeah.
And whenever anybody asks me what the electric payment is, I know they're in. They're trying to calculate, can they make the monthly, the electric, they know what their Comcast bill is going to be, and
Right.
can they eat? So they're trying in their head to see if they can budget it out. And
That
if they
makes
don't ask me about the electric, then they're not going to call back and I don't follow up with them and I just don't care. But that's my super secret tidbit of the day. I'm wanting somebody to ask me about the electric.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure
Is there anything else you want to add, or do you have any advice for somebody who's trying to take imperfect action, somebody who's trying to get started? What would you tell those ladies to do?
So absolutely. First things first, I would say to get educated. Whether you choose the YouTube route, which is not the route that I chose, but it works for some people. For me, I am an advocate of buying courses. I buy courses to learn whatever it is that I want to learn. That's what I do. So I bought a course and I went in, and make sure, whenever you do decide to, if you decide to buy a course from someone, just make sure it's someone who's actually in the business and, doing deals and or at least have done multiple deals. I bought a course. I went head first in that course, and it was so thorough that it allowed me to just go step by step, just implement those steps. So don't try to, I don't know, I think it's a book or either a saying, I'm not sure, Whitney, I'm sure you've heard it, where it asks the question, how do you eat an elephant, right? So one bite at a time. And that's what I would encourage you to do. So don't look at the full picture. Just go one step at a time. And as long as you're following that map, like it's just like a map. As long as you're following that map, you eventually get to your destination. So that's what I would advise, ladies. Just take it one step at a time. Just keep going, one step at a time, and you'll get there.
I completely agree. I paid for my education, and I encourage people to pay for your education. It's great to go to YouTube University, but when you don't have anything in the game and you can't send somebody on YouTube, because I have a great following on YouTube, but people send me messages. I'm like, well, you got to join First Deal Done Fast. If you want me to give it to you in order, step by step by step, with the contracts, with the connections, with my actual attention every single week, you got to pay for that, baby.
Exactly. Exactly. People don't, you spent your time, and what they're paying for is to avoid costly mistakes that you've already made, that you can deter them from making, and that you can, advise them on how to go about doing it, shorten up that learning curve, trying to figure it all out, drowning out all the noise from listening to 100 different people telling you different ways to go about doing it this way, go do it that way, build your cash buyers list first, do this, listen, get you some education. And also, when you got that skin in the game, it makes you get up off your behind a little bit more. Whenever I've spent whatever it is that I spent on this course, now I've got to get my money back. And the way you're going to get your money back is by taking action.
Absolutely. I paid $15,000. I paid $15,000 for my first mentor, and my very first deal, I made $15,386. So,
wow.
I had my money back, but I also had the skills. It's not about the money you invest. It's about the transformation. You go from somebody who can't spell real estate investing, like I was, and I had a real estate license, but I couldn't spell investing, and I had two houses, just accidental. I had no idea what I was doing, but when I paid for a coach, I paid attention, I showed up, and I worked. And then I made, I think I almost 10x'd it. So I paid $15,000, but I made 136 in my first year doing assignments, doing wholesaling, and I look back.
And that's a skill that nobody will ever be able to take away from you.
No matter what happens, I can wholesale, I can assign, I can get out
Yep.
there and talk to sellers, and it's fun too. But
Yep.
yes, I agree.
And you learn transferable skills too, Whitney. You know, you could transfer those skills to other things.
Other things, and I agree. Pay and go to an event too, because there's also nothing like online learning is great, but you're doing 3 things at the same time. But when you pack a bag and go to Miami, or you pack a bag and you go to Knoxville, you're going to pay attention, you're going to make connections, and that's what we need as women. We need more connections and less things for our thumbs to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, sis, thank you so much. This has been awesome. How can people get in touch with you or join your group or find you if they want to find out more about you?
Yeah, so you can join. My Facebook group is not for women only. It's for everyone. It's called Real Estate Investing A to Z. The men put on such a fit when I launched Livewire. They said, please don't create the group for women only. So I opened it for everyone. You can come there. You're welcome. If you're a newbie, it's fine. You know, we have something for everyone there. You can find me on Instagram at Sis Shaneka, SISSHANEKA. And I'll be starting a YouTube channel here shortly where we're going to be doing some phenomenal things.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, thank you so much. And y'all don't forget to subscribe to the She Buys It podcast. Check out the She Buys It YouTube channel and join the She Buys It Facebook group. I am so glad you were here, sis. Thank you so much. And we will talk again.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Yes, we will. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and pleased to be here.
Yay! Also, y'all, don't forget, get your free gift from me. Go to getyourfirstdeal.com and I'll send you a free gift straight to your inbox. Mwah! Bye, y'all.